What is up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat and we are here today with a brand new series. I'm fully recovered from my maladies and I'm better from my illnesses, just to be completely and totally redundant. Today we're going to be playing Battleworlds Kronos, and I think this is going to be the next series that we run through with. This is a game that I've played briefly. It's by King Art Games, and it kind of jumped out at me as a unique little title that I felt like I should probably show off on the channel. This one snuck under the radar, and you're probably asking, well, what is Battleworlds Kronos? Battleworlds is a lot like Advance Wars, to be honest, except it's set in a really, instead of having like that cartoony style, this is much more like a realistic military engagement type style where it kind of does away with the cartooniness and has a little bit more realism. It's got some more edge, there's intrigue, there's murder and so forth in the storyline, and so I think it does away with a little bit of that in order to be a bit more adult themed, I suppose. But anyways, without further ado, let's start the campaign off. We're going to be playing both here today. We're going to be doing campaign number 1. You'll see that I've played a little bit, but I'm going to go through all of it with you. Let's do the cutscene so that we know the storyline, because I didn't watch it before I did this.
A fantastic view of Kronos, our old homeworld, place of so many legends and historic battles. Hello, I'm Philippa White. Over the coming days and weeks, I'll be reporting on the 120th War of Succession. Some even say it may be the last. Kronos has seen a frenzy of preparations for the competition over the last 3 months. New roads have been built and
blown up by unknown forces yet again. But that won't make the news, will it? The show must go on. But this is no show. This is war, and my people are dying down there. It's our duty to protect them, Commander. To win the war, yes, but to win it with as few casualties as possible. You may be asking yourself why I'm contacting someone like you, a nobody. Well, it's simple. You're a good commander. You have potential, and you come from the gutter. Just like me. No one has you on their radar, and that's the key, because something is rotten in the House of Tellet. I've discovered something that... Well, no more time for talking. Save them.
Okay, and so here we are, exercising our potential. I guess you treat potential a bit like fat and you just exercise it off. I don't know. Let's jump on into this mission, and this is how we're going to be interfacing with the game for the rest of our playtime. This is the obligatory kind of tutorial mission. I'm going to kind of move my way through, and I'll explain what it says here at the bottom. As you can tell, we're using kind of a hex grid system. Well, not kind of a hex grid system, a hex grid system. And if I hold down the space bar here, you'll see that my unit has 2 little icons underneath him. That little arrow one means that he can move, and that little star is a joker. The joker can be used for either an attack or a move or a special ability, whatever you want it to be used for. It can be used for like anything. And so right now, let's be on our way. So as you can see, you just move around the grid. We've just used both our move and our joker. I promise this mission will get more interesting. It starts out fairly slow though. Because we've used up both of our turns, we're going to end the turn. That's right, it is a turn-based game. You get used to it after a little while, but it doesn't fall into the trap that most turn-based games do, where it ends up being kind of slow-paced and whatnot. This game actually maintains its momentum very, very well. Over here on the right, you'll see a bunch of pertinent information. We will talk about this stuff as we go along. Let's continue on the move. Oh, there's an enemy. I'm actually going to bypass my turn right now because I don't think he's actually going to come after me. Now that we've bypassed our turn, let me move in to engage with him. And we can use our Joker action here now to do an attack. And so there it is. Now the game does use a counterattack system that some people may or may not like. The counterattack system means that no matter what you do, they're going to counterattack you if you're within 1 hex of them. So when you fight, they fight back. However, their attack comes after yours, and damaged units don't deal as much damage, so you really want to be the first attacker in this game. You want to seize the initiative. Let's go ahead and end the turn. He's going to take another shot at us. We're going to return fire, and he's going to run away. And so now the tutorial is telling us to finish him off, which is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to shoot him right in his bikey behind. Farewell, robot bike. I shall see you on the, well, on the never. You're dead. Farewell. And so as we've killed the enemy, now we've gained ourselves a little bit of XP. You see these little 5 pips right here on the right? These are your XPs, and every time you take an action in combat, whether it's getting shot or shooting at somebody, that's right, this game rewards you for getting shot in the face. You actually get XP for getting blown the hell up, and I think that actually has to do with the counter blow, but I like to think of it as a learning experience. You get shot, it's like burning your hand on the oven, you're like, ah damn, I just learned from that. Over here, we've got our HP. We've got our unit's rank. As it levels up, it's going to get little abilities right here in these squares. The game is very customizable, and each unit can be built in very interesting ways, and that's one of the things that's really kind of grabbed me. I was skeptical about this game because I hadn't really heard anything through the grapevine about it, but it turned out to be pretty sweet. Let's continue our way up the road. And you'll see you left a wreckage on the ground right there. Some of the crafts can actually use those wreckages to repair themselves, but those wreckages have a different kind of ability as well. They keep people from moving through that hex. So if there's a wreck and a hex, you gotta wait a couple turns till it clears out. I think we are out of moves, so let me bypass the turn. I'm gonna try and move as quickly as possible towards the end of this whole thing. Oh, and we've got a spidery, well, it's not kind of, it's like a square, I guess. Building our ships like a square is the best way to do it aerodynamically. I don't know. We've got 2 more craft now, and you'll see that one of them is new, and it's called a bandit. If we mouse over a unit like so, you can see their attack range. The bandit is kind of cool because he fires from 2 hexes away, which makes him a little bit of an artillery unit, but he's definitely ranged. He deals a lot more damage than these guys do, but these guys, conversely, are more tanky than him. Like, he can't take a whole lot of damage. You'll see he's only got 70 HP, light armor. That's what this little icon right here means. It'll get more robust, it'll get more, I guess, embossed. This little shield will become more decorative the more armor you have. Now, what this means is that we always want to keep our little CRVs right here in the front. And actually, they haven't used up their move yet, so we'll have to bypass our turn. And now that we've bypassed the turn, I'm going to put them in a little formation like so. And one of the things I really like about the bandit, if you look, he has 2 jokers, which means he can fire twice if he's in the right position. That puts him in a very, very good spot to just deal like ridiculous ass tons of damage. Metric ass tons. We're going to bypass that turn really quickly so that we can move in unison if we need to. And it looks like we do have some antagonists up here. It looks like we've got like a little nod bike and actually a bandit that's coming back at us. So let's get everybody situated so that we can return fire if we need to. And we'll end our turn. We'll see if they come at us. Yeah, they are. They're actually going to try and line up on this guy right here and kind of tag team on him. And you'll see he just leveled up from getting shot in the dome, which was exactly what I was talking about. I'm going to put a rocket on the bike, hopefully destroying it. Yeah, the bike has now been blown the hell up. And I'm actually going to move that vehicle to right there, and he's going to take some shots. This guy is actually going to move up in here. Yeah, he's going to move up in and finish him off. And so there it is. Combat is done. We've also sustained some damage, and the tutorial is going to tell us how to fix that. But first and foremost, let's handle our unit upgrades. So you'll see right here this hunter that's got this little chevron up by his health bar. We can go over here to this clicky right here, and we can level him up. And now we've got 2 choices for an upgrade. We can either give him improved armor, or we can give him an improved engine so he can move further, or he can sustain more damage. Because the damage in this game is already like in the mid-30s to 40s at the beginning, I think like lowering the damage by 30% is a pretty substantial boon. So we're going to take that. And you'll see it gets added to his list right there. And so now we have improved ballistic armor. I think that's going to be the end of our turn. We'll go scout it out. These little things laying on the ground, these little sandbag looking guys, these are actually repair kits. And I think we can drag him over the top of them to get ourselves nice and fixed up. So let's do that. It's out of range. That's one of my pet peeves thus far, is that you can't like daisy chain your movement. You actually have to move and then move a second time to use your joker. You can't daisy chain them both together right at the get-go. And so now it's telling me to repair my guys. And yeah, let's go ahead and bypass one more turn. Okay, and it says to follow the path to the east, but they don't own me. They can't tell me what to do. Let's go on an adventure, a short adventure. Never mind, let's go back this way. They were right. I should listen better. Alright, but where would we be? Oh, hey. Shock and uncertainty are hidden behind a mask of professionalism when the soldier notices he's dealing with a commander. Commander, thank heaven. My name is Captain Hamill. I and some of my people were able to parachute from the falling cargo shuttle. It must have crashed somewhere north of here. What's the sitrep? In the north, there's an island that can be reached via 2 bridges. On that island, there's a base belonging to the Yurla Corporation. Could be an interesting target. Captain Hamill is pondering. He knows that his life and that of his comrades depend on giving you, their commander, all the relevant info they have. but the bridges leading to the island are heavily guarded. It might be difficult to cross them without suitable equipment. Maybe we'll find something that could help us at the depot southeast of here. Alright, the Yurla Corporation? Right, your friendly next-door global corporation. Pretty much every weapon in this war was built by Yurla. Strange, isn't it? They try to seize power themselves, but still supply everyone who can afford it with military equipment. Money makes the world go round, I guess. Captain Hamill is talking like someone who has heard too much from the world of business to be upset about it, but then his expression darkens. At least they're fighting us openly, unlike those two-faced bastards from the Order of the Illuminati. They say there's one of their spies behind every Telet Lord's throne. Well, what happened to the landing ship? Uncertainty flashes in the eyes of the soldier. On Rhea, he was trained to cope with any type of situation. Apparently the crash of the cargo shuttle wasn't part of the training. We were on the starboard side when we felt the blast. Moments later, the bulkhead started closing in to prevent oxygen loss and the ship tilted. I have no idea what happened, but it must have been severe. Technical malfunction? After all, I mean, we can rule out an attack, right? The last sentence is worded as a statement, but a question is resonating within it. Although it can't be, mustn't be possible, Captain Hamill seems to consider an attack the most probable explanation. Why do you rule out an attack? Captain Hamill stiffens a bit. Was he too candid towards the superior? Is this a test? He eyes you up, then answers carefully. Well, because of the rules, sir. No military actions in or from the orbit, no biological, chemical, or nuclear weapons. Everybody agreed to that. I don't think anyone will violate the rules. All the houses would unite against them, and no one could survive that. Politics are a challenging arena, and farther down you are on the food chain, the less you interfere with these affairs. Captain Hamill knows that, and so do you. Alright, well I guess other things can wait. We're in a hurry. Right. There's valuable military equipment and loads of gear in the ship. It mustn't fall into the enemy hands. Alrighty then. We've actually got ourselves a nice little handful of vehicles here. Let's look through and see what we've got. It seems as though we've got an explorer, so he's going to be our scout for the future. But we've also got some enemies. Additionally, we've got some infantry troops right here. You can look at the unit info for anything. This doesn't really look like an infantry unit to me. I mean, he's got tank treads, so I think they're definitely taking some liberties with the classification of infantry. But what's nice about him is he can actually move through forests, which the rest of these vehicles cannot. So let's take them, and we're actually going to cut through the forest here using their movement and their Joker. And we'll keep an eye on potential threats here. This bike is going to be a problem, so let's move in and we'll fight with him first. Can he actually make the run out to there? He can. Alright, well, we'll move that vehicle into place first. Then we'll take our freebie shot. The nice thing about this game is if they are engaged in combat and we come up next to them, there is a flanking bonus and you do deal extra damage. Kind of a cool little feature that you have to rely on actually to deal better damage than most of your enemies. We'll fire our first round of rockets into their flank and hope that finishes them off. It did indeed, so now he's a pile of scrap. I'm going to bring this other hunter up, along with this one. And we're going to do our best to make kind of a line right here so that nothing can get at our hunters. But that's kind of relative. I mean, they may be able to break through our line through a hex right there. I don't know. I'm just trying to conceal him off because they tend to be really, really valuable units because they can fire twice. That double fire thing, you would think that it wouldn't be that valuable, but if you can get them into the right spot, they can literally decimate an entire line. I believe that's the end of all of our movement. Yeah, it looks like we've just about got everything handled, so let's bypass our turn. That hunter is obviously going to move and take a couple shots at us. As long as he doesn't double fire on us, I'm okay though. Okay, so we've got a bunch of damage taken by this vehicle right here. He's going to be the one we want to reinforce with whatever movements we can handle. I can't really back him out of combat just yet though, so instead, I think I'm going to focus on kind of creating a divide right here so the infantry can't get through. Although he's fairly damaged as well. That might have been a malfunction. Yeah, that was a bad choice on my part. I didn't realize he was damaged too. It's a little odd. Well, that just means we have to resolve this a little bit more efficiently. We may lose a vehicle in the next turn. But we'll figure it out, I think. Yeah, I should have taken these infantry. I'm keeping these infantry safe for a special reason. Just so you know. I guess we'll pile in. There's not enough areas that I can access and attack from, unfortunately. I guess we'll pile in. Oh, he's still got movements. Never mind. Let's go get him repaired. And then with his... There we go. That's what we'll do. And that'll actually allow me to utilize all these guys appropriately. Is there anything else left over here? I have a bad habit in this game of like leaving my units behind and forgetting about them, even though they're like blue painted. They're painted bright colors and I still can't keep track of all of them. It's a character flaw, I suppose. What do we have left here? Okay, so we've got a dead vehicle right there. Additionally, you can't fire diagonals, I don't think, with him. Oh, never mind. He's out of attack options. That'll do it. Well, let me see where I land if I take my actions here with all of these vehicles. Done a little bit of damage. Let me see if I can whittle him down. It's going to be close, but... Oh, there he goes. Okay. So I'm not positive. He might be able to still kill this vehicle. It'll be a tragedy if he does, because that was my own blunder. You can move units through your own units, so bear that in mind as you're playing the game. One of those interesting little things that I didn't catch on until a little bit later. Especially when I found myself bottlenecked, that would have been nice to know, but now I know, and I'm relaying the information onto you. Let's bypass the turn. Cross our fingers. Let's put a little bit of bait on the table, actually, with these infantry units and see if maybe he'll turn. I don't think he will, but he might. Oh, he did. I love that sound effect, by the way. It unleashes the DACA, and I'm a fan of anything that unleashes the DACA. You guys know me. Let's get in here and get behind him and shoot him right in the bootay. Right here, we'll return the final bout of fire. And what I'd like to do with this unit is actually just run him across some of these repair depots now. So let's talk about the reason that I was keeping these safe. Well, these infantry have useful abilities, and that's that they can capture buildings. And so if I bring him down here to, say, this depot, and I tell him to take a shot at it, that becomes our building. Now, why do I want this building? I mean, obviously it's got good ventilation. It's probably got air conditioning. It may have an arcade. You never know. I'm a corner-slogging just bastard when it comes to arcades, but the real benefit is that it's got vehicles inside of it, so we're actually expanding our force right now. The first vehicle we're going to let out of the building is going to be a hunter. The second, what is this? The second is a Cerberus, which is a light tank. It's got very good armor. It deals really good damage, but it can only move and attack. It can't, like, double move. It doesn't have a Joker move or a Joker point. And then the final unit we're going to bring out is an artillery platform, which is going to be very, very useful as we go through this mission. He actually is going to have a lot of uses as we try to break the enemy's defenses on a separate island. He's still got a Joker. I'm going to shoot this radar display, and capturing that is actually going to expand our map so we can see what's across the river now. As you can tell, they're quite fortified right here, so coming across the bridge, probably going to be an error. We probably don't want to do that. It's going to be one of those big E's that kind of changes the course of the game unless we've got something to swing it in our favor. So what else do we have? Well, we're going to have to bypass the turn to get at everything else, but we do have this thing right here. This is a vehicle container. It's got a random vehicle hidden inside of it. Let's see if we can get over there and open it up before this turn is over. And there it is. It gave us a freebie infantry, which still has a full turn. So we will blow up that building as well, increase our arcade supply. Hopefully we've got multiple Street Fighter machines now so that we can play, or I don't know, Dance Dance Revolution, whatever the hell you're into when you go to arcades. We've got an arcade here in my hometown that's got all kinds of classic games in it. It's got like basically these Hackintosh, not Hackintosh, but like these hack arcade, like a million games put into one, like basically a Neo Geo but without the branding. And it's got like Mario and just all kinds of stuff. There's another artillery unit right there in that building, and this one's got a Cerberus. So we've got a bunch of doggy-style tanks that we can bring up with us to kind of, I guess, block this off, and then we'll put the artillery on here and fire. I would love to kill off that gun turret, because these gun turrets are really, really nasty. One thing that is to be commended is this game gives you a huge amount of information about every single unit. You've got, like, your flavor text right here, but you've also got how much damage they deal versus every type of armor, so you can plan out your strategy accordingly if you've got a bunch of different types of units that each have different strengths and weaknesses. Kind of a cool feature. With all the movement we have left, which is nil, I'm going to start figuring out, well, we want the Cerberuses to be up in the front of the Cerberi. I don't know how to pluralize Cerberuses. Now, we've got these units unlocked, so for now what we want to do is use these to capture these buildings. We're not really going to mess with anybody else. We're going to try and move our tanks forward, though. Probably an appropriate thing to do at this moment. There they are. I'm going to start moving the artillery out this way as well. You'll also note that if you drive across these, it doesn't auto-heal you. You actually have to stop on top of them, otherwise it it doesn't trigger, which is very, very good, because driving across those happens all the time, and sometimes you want to save them for later. Sometimes it's like that frozen Snicker bar in the back of your fridge. You just want it for later. I'm also going to move up some of the light artillery. That's what I treat these hunters, or these bandits as. They're light artillery in my mind. And let's capture... Oh, we can't. Never mind. Let's take him then. And we'll use his jokers to get him up and in here. I don't remember if it's going to take 2 shots. You see that little bar right there? It's divided into 2 pieces. That means it's going to take 2 shots to get it cracked open. Let's end that turn. They're not going to go on the offensive and come after us, so we've got plenty of time to play with. And let's capture this bitch. The bitch is now captured and collared. Inside of it, we've got 2 swamp boats. Or hovercraft, I suppose, if you want to call them that. What do we need these for? Well, these are going to allow us to move our infantry around. They may actually even allow us to move our other vehicles around. I'm not sure. I'll play with it in just a second. The last time I played this mission, I used it specifically for my infantry. We'll find out in just a second. Let's end that turn. Actually, did I do my Cerberus move? No, I didn't. Let's move the Cerberus up. Cerberus number 1 and Cerberus number 2. Each one's going to take a beachhead right here. I'd also like for my artillery platforms to be right behind them. Actually, 2 spaces behind them would make me happier, so I'd actually prefer for it to be a bandit behind each of these. And behind the bandit, you will also have the artillery platform, so that you've got a couple different options. Now, the artillery does need to be deployed. It's somewhat like the Tic Tank or the artillery platform that the Brotherhood of Nod use in Command & Conquer. You have to deploy it before it can actually do anything for you, so keep that in mind as well. And that is pretty much going to use up its entire turn, because you can only deploy using a joker point. You can't deploy using a movement point, so just things to think about. Other stuff, can I actually put a vehicle inside there? I can, so it's actually not limited just to infantry. I'm going to put some of these vehicles in so that we can flank a little bit. Do a little bit of the old flanky spanky. And what is this doing over here? You, sir, you've used up all your movements. Okay. Let's get one more of the bandits up here. And we'll end the turn. Let's get the tanks situated right at the end of the bridge for now. And I just want everybody in a single file line right where they're going to be as they cross the bridge. And there it is. There's our attack order. Everybody else is going to have the distinction of kind of falling back while we fill out these transports. And while filling up transports is not one of my favorite parts of the strategy genre, you'll recall that Command & Conquer always had missions like that where you had to make like 5,000 transports that each held like 2 tanks apiece. And then you had to run them all across the ocean. Those were my least favorite missions. Just a little look into the eye of Splattercat if that doesn't drive you too insane. And there's 2 vehicles there. So this guy is actually, we're going to leave him back here along with this bike. Is there anybody we're forgetting about? No, everybody has been accounted for. So let's go ahead and get them on the open sea. Piracy style, Somali style if you really want to go that way. Somalian pirates we. And we'll keep them pretty far offshore because I don't want them to eat artillery fire or anything on the approach. I want to keep them very, very safe as we conduct this operation. This has to be pretty much simultaneous. This fight right here, you're probably bound to lose somebody at some point. And that... yeah, that's looking reasonably fine. I think we're alright. Alright, alright, alright. Okay, so they didn't move on us, which is good, because if they had made a pass at us, it would have made this war a whole lot more awkward than it needs to be. But at the same time, you know, all quiet on the Western Front type stuff. Let's see here. Is that the right book? I don't know if I'm making the right literary reference. Never mind. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit that bastion before it gets assaulted by somebody with better knowledge than me. I don't read too much anymore. It's kind of a function of working a lot on the LP channel. It sort of removes your opportunities to read loads and loads of books. I think I don't want to be anywhere near that. That's got a 3 range, so we can stop short right there. The artillery has a 5 range from what I recall. So where was that at? It's going to stop right there, so we want that hex. Okay, so there we are. And actually, I think I may have to have the artillery behind it. me take a look at the range here. Yeah, I can't really back off that one unless it's a straight shot. So, unfortunately, that keeps me from reinforcing in quite the way I would have liked, but on the plus side, on this bridge, we don't have to worry about any of that. So what I can do is I can sort of just dogpile guys here. And what's his range looking like? I can move him forward by 1. We'll deploy him there so that on the next turn, that anybody that moves down this bridge is just going to get lit into super hardcore mode style. Everybody else, we'll kind of line them up just in case we want to make a run. If they actually try to do a little dancing procedure, they try and do the tango with us. While it does take 2 to tango, it's no fun when somebody's dancing in and out of leading, so I would prefer, sometimes they do like a little skirmishing thing where they'll duck in, duck out, duck in, duck out. So if they leave a gap like that, I'm going to rush it. Over here, I should probably deploy him as well so the next turn he can start putting some rounds on that machine gun turret. Let's end it and figure out how this is going to go down. Oh, they didn't advance on me, interestingly enough. Well, let's get rid of some of those defenses then. He can only use a joker. You can see here he's only got a joker point with the star to be able to fire, so unfortunately, I'm just going to turtle right now. I see no reason to move up into this slaughter zone if I don't have to. What about you? Can you fire at anything? Nay. Unfortunately, he cannot. I'm actually going to hold off with them as well. Depends what unloading costs. I didn't take a look and see what unloading was going to cost me. I think unloading probably costs a joker? I don't know. Let's wait a minute. We'll give it one more turn. Now that we've taken a shot, I get the feeling they're probably going to try and oh, maybe not. Well, what do I know about anything then? God. Let's move this tank up by 1. We'll move up the bandit to there. We'll do the same thing here. And I would really prefer that they come at me at some point. But until they decide to, I'm scared. What I don't want to happen is when I drop off here, if they all redivert this way, it's going to be a slaughter because it's going to be 4 versus 5, and it's going to take me at least a turn to close that gap. So they're going to take a ton of fire if I drop them off too early. I'd prefer to bait the combat here and then come around and just totally pincer them. There it is. Okay, so we've managed to bait the combat. Although they are playing it smart. Oh, they had an infantry back there too that I didn't know about. Hopefully we can resolve this all in 1 to 2 turns. Those missiles do a reasonable amount of damage. Ooh. So our tanks are already taking it. They're not taking it well. I'll put it like that. They are taking it just dirty porno style, unfortunately, right now. That's going to be a return fire. So let me see what I can do first and foremost with a double rocket here. And actually, is that outside the range? Then I don't want to do that. I'm actually going to let artillery do that because by killing that, I'm kind of setting myself up for failure here. That does leave me in the interesting choice, though. Ah, never mind. This artillery can actually help out a little bit. Let's think about maybe... Let's double rocket this guy, and we'll see what happens. I don't think double rockets are actually going to kill him. If you look at the red, I think that's going to be the intended inflicted damage. Yeah, and he's still not down. Well, we'll kill him like so. And so now that he's actually used up his move, we're going to fall back with this tank. And I don't think that that vehicle is going to be able to jump that boundary as it stands right now. Is he going to be able to shoot at my tank on the left, though? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. A little confused as to what's going to happen right now. I think I'm going to move everybody backwards by 1. Then we'll do over here. We're going to get into position. Oh, and I didn't do that properly. Let's go ahead and unload them to right there. Oh, it doesn't cost anything to unload. Well, that's nice. We'll unload our second vehicle right there. And that actually makes them very good hit and run units. Unfortunately, with where we're at right now, I think we're going to have to break off the episode here. This game is called Battleworlds Kronos. I know I haven't been repeating the name a lot as we've been playing. but I hope you guys are enjoying the playthrough. This is going to be our next, I don't know if it's going to be our major, like, everyday series to replace How to Survive once it goes through, but it is going to be a series that we're going to follow from beginning to end. The game is very challenging, and I think it's got a unique gameplay style that I like. Games that have this sort of polish are rare to come around, so I look forward to playing it with you. My name is Splattercat. You're in the Nerd Castle, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care out there, everybody.